And we bring you updates from Hurricane Ernesto as it continues to impact the Caribbean islands and what's going to happen with this hurricane as we head into the weekend.
Plus, with fall football season just around the corner, we talk about how the heat could potentially impact students.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
And so glad to have Lauren and Tania joining us again here for Weather Extra. We got some video that was sent in from Michelle and Santini, and this was from Puerto Rico, I believe, as some of that rain moved through earlier today. This was earlier this morning from now Hurricane Ernesto, and that system is tracking to the north. And Lauren, Tania, so glad to have you guys back with us right now. I know, Lauren, you were tracking some of the showers here locally today. We did actually have some rain here in our area.
We did, not from Ernesto, but just squeezed out a few little puny showers. It wasn't much.
Hey, we'll take puny showers.
We
need it.
Hey,
we need
puny
any
is fun too.
Yeah, we need a little bit of rain. We don't need that. We don't need it, flooding like Ernesto. No. But certainly, we saw some of the video that Shinty shared with us yesterday from family in that area, and they were already preparing for Ernesto. But we're going to talk a lot more about that system here. Give you that weather extra rundown. Right now, though, I want to talk about what's next for you at home here as we move into the next 24 hours. 87 degrees right now. Just a look out the window, and we'll check our sky vision view from Oak Grove. That's in southern Talladega County. It's right there next to Sylacauga, and you can see we have some clouds overhead, but no rain showing up at this time. I know we've been talking a lot. I've had a lot of folks asking. I got tickets going out to the concert tonight at Oak Mountain, and at this point it looks dry. And if you have plans, maybe a game happening, want to get a walk or run in, you can see that the temperatures right now not terribly bad. It certainly felt hotter than this, right? And for the month of August, we have upper 80s, low 90s, even some mid 80s across East Alabama. But I want to go back to this map and just show you, this is the breakdown for the next big thing. And as we go into Friday and Saturday, what happens here is we get into more of an active northwest flow, and there's a chance that we could have some storms popping up during the heating of the day and dropping southeast. So watch Friday and Saturday. Check the First Alert Weather app. Know that there's going to be some scattered showers and storms dropping southeast, and those storms, especially if we're able to really heat up, and we do expect those mid-90s in some areas, heat index topping 100, and that could lead to some strong to severe storms possible, especially for areas to the north. You can see that risk for some damaging wind gusts, some large hail, some frequent lightning, but again, those scattered storms moving to the southeast there Friday. If not Friday, we may see some of those higher rain chances continuing into the day on Saturday. But at this time, I mentioned we were tracking not only the rain chances, but also those rising temperatures, and you can see that's reflected in the heat index, that value on the rise Friday and Saturday. Notice, though, with those higher rain chances going into the weekend, Sunday and Monday, we're going to see those heat index levels starting to back off again. So a little bit of an improvement, and rain chances only around 20% into the start of next week. But here is the view from space as we check out Hurricane Ernesto, and we do have more on this system. Tania standing by with the latest advisory.
Yeah, Wes, here's a look at Hurricane Ernesto right now with those maximum sustained winds at 75 miles per hour. It's just north of Puerto Rico and continuing to move through the Atlantic Ocean. Over the next several hours, still going to be a Category 1, but it's expected to strengthen, and by Thursday afternoon could strengthen into a Category 2 hurricane just before it possibly strengthens into a Category 3 as it heads towards Bermuda. So here are the headlines. As far as this system, we're not expecting any direct impacts from it here across Alabama or in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's good news for any of you who have plans to go down to the beach. But like I said, a Category 2 hurricane is possible as early as Thursday, but may even strengthen into a Category 3 as it continues to move north through the Atlantic Ocean, and major hurricane conditions are likely for Bermuda. So we'll continue to give you updates on that. But I actually want to toss to Lauren, because Lauren is going to tell us more about why this system is developing as strong as it is.
Yeah, Tania. So, you know, Ernesto came through, and thus far, up until really this afternoon, it had been a strong tropical storm. But I want to explain to you how just because you have the cone of uncertainty showing it going through a certain area, you have to think that impacts from a system extend well outside of the center. So you can see the track of Ernesto as it moved through the Virgin Islands, getting up into parts of the Leeward Islands, and then as it moved to the northwest, it came towards San Juan. And though technically it wasn't a hurricane when it moved through San Juan, they have still been getting flooding today because impacts extend well outside of the center. And this line we're seeing here of Ernesto's past history is just tracking the center line. The latest update from the National Hurricane Center shows that hurricane force winds with Ernesto actually extend 35 miles out from the center, up to 35 miles, and tropical storm force winds, that's 39 miles per hour or greater, can extend up to 175 miles outside of the center. So though technically it wasn't a hurricane when it came through, you can see Ernesto was a little lopsided. A lot of the energy and the thunderstorms associated with it, more of the heavy rain, was on that southeast side. And so that's what came through Puerto Rico and caused such devastating impacts. Well, we want to check out some of the damage across Puerto Rico. These images were sent in from Barranquitas. Triano Rivera sent this video in. You can see that rain whipping coming down, and then you can actually see trees that fell. This is also in Barranquitas in Puerto Rico. And then we also have this view as well from Nimsi Torado of the same area. This is about in the middle of Puerto Rico, and this is a very mountainous terrain. So as you have this system coming through, not only are you having to deal with the strong winds that you're seeing, you're also having to deal with the fact that it's at a mountainous terrain. Those winds are going to be more elevated the higher up you go and stronger. So numerous flash flood warnings were issued across the island, and more than 700,000 people are still without power. Well, now meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us with a further look on what we can expect from the tropics over the next few weeks.
Well, we are in the middle of August and the season just beginning. I know it started back in June 1st, but it really ramps up at late August and into September and October. Right now, we've had 5 named storms. The next name up is Francine, and we may see another named storm within the next couple of weeks. So this is where we're at. Notice it's just an uphill battle. We're going to continue to climb up and towards the peak of the season, which is usually September 10th, and it stays pretty active in September and October, and then it really drops down as we go into the last month of the hurricane season, which is in November. So of course the tropics, we're continuing to watch Ernesto, but in general, not much out there. We're watching waves that will be moving off the coast of Africa. You can see another tropical wave moving through the into the eastern Atlantic Ocean. Models aren't showing a lot of support in the next 7 days, so nothing to be of concern of at the moment. But the Climate Prediction Center, they're doing 2 to 3 week outlooks when it comes to the tropics. And looking ahead into August 21st to the 27th, they're looking at a low chance of something forming into the main development region in the Atlantic. And in orange, a medium chance we could see something form. So it could very well be with some of these tropical waves moving off the coast of Africa that have a chance to form. Also looking ahead, maybe late August and early September, looking ahead 2 to 3 weeks from now, they're showing a pretty high chance we're likely going to see something form in the same region. But the good news, we don't see any immediate concern for the Gulf of Mexico or in the western portions of the Caribbean. So we'll watch it over the next several days. And just to give you an idea about hurricanes and lead times, now that we're in the peak of, or entering the peak of the season, a lot of the activity likes to form well out into the Atlantic, which gives us several days to fine tune the forecast before it even gets close to the United States. So anything that forms out in this main region, it may take up to 8+, maybe 6 to 7 days before it even gets close to parts of the United States. Then we start seeing these storms form in the Caribbean. It might be 3 to 4 days away before it impacts the U.S. And then when you have any storms near the Bahamas, Cuba, even into the western Gulf of Mexico, it's usually 2 days or less. So that's the good thing about tropical systems for us anyways, is we have a long time to forecast, track, and prepare for these systems. So we'll keep you updated, of course, through here and through the WBRC First Alert weather app.
Thanks, Matt. In 30 seconds, we take a look at your forecast as we head one step closer to the weekend and talk about how the summer heat can be having a negative impact on student athletes. We'll be right back.
Well, we were talking about the weather there in the tropics, and just to show you again, if you're heading down to the Gulf Coast, we're going to be seeing the scattered showers and storms, but Ernesto is the only system right now in the Atlantic Basin as we get closer to the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, and looks as though the temperatures are going to be on the rise. We're talking about some scattered storms coming back in our forecast. Again, it looks like we'll see those chances by Friday afternoon starting to pick up again, and then also as we go into the day on Saturday, and then the rain chances start to back off into the start of next week. But we're also talking about the heat, and meteorologist Lauren Linehan standing by for an update.
Hey, Wes, yeah, one thing is we've all started back to school, right? And I know even before school started in late July, we had a lot of student athletes practicing out in the heat. And hey, we just wrapped up the Olympics, and we heard a lot of complaints from athletes over there about just how hot it was in France. So what gives? Well, obviously it's summer, especially here in Alabama. We're going to have to deal with the heat and humidity, but we want to give you some perspective too about how we've seen climate trends change over the past several decades. Since the 1970s alone, here in the Birmingham area, we have seen a trend towards more extremely hot days. That means days above 93 degrees. So over the past 50 years, we have seen a trend in the Birmingham area that on average now we get about 2 extra weeks a year, 14 days, where we see extremely hot days. And unfortunately, a lot of that happens to fall in those prime times for outdoor sports, like getting ready for the football season. And it's not just students, but it can be adults too. We're talking professional football players. We're talking Olympic athletes who can be seeing the impacts of that heat stress. And you notice it's not just here in Alabama. All across the U.S., we have seen a lot of locations where you see the little red, orange dots here showing a change in more hot days. When you see that orange, red showing up here, you can see over the Birmingham area, we kind of have this lighter red area also across parts of Alabama. On average, about 10 to 20 more days per year where you could see that extreme heat, 93 degrees plus. So we certainly want to encourage school officials, anyone who has a team who's practicing outside, to make sure you're staying up to date with that first alert forecast and keeping it safe in the heat, because that humid heat has just been getting hotter. Tania?
Yeah, Lauren, and tomorrow is going to be a pretty hot day as well, and pretty humid too. So if your kids are heading to the bus stop, make sure you send them out the door with that extra large bottle of water so they can stay hydrated throughout the day. It wouldn't hurt to go ahead and plan to give them some sunscreen to wear and to reapply throughout the day as well. 7 a.m. temperatures not too bad, starting off in the mid 70s, but upper 80s pretty quickly as we approach the afternoon and lunchtime hour. Partly cloudy skies for your Thursday, mostly dry, but notice how there is a chance for an isolated shower throughout the day. A 20% chance at most, nothing to be overly concerned about. A light sprinkle, there could be an isolated storm, but nothing like we're going to see by the time we reach your Friday and Saturday. So a hot Thursday in store with afternoon highs in the 90s. Please make sure you're practicing heat safety. We'll have a full breakdown on that 7-day forecast with those showers and storms later in the week in just a couple of minutes. But all of this comes as summers in the U.S. are getting hotter and longer, with the country's 50 most populated cities getting hotter over the past half century. All but 3 are experiencing more extremely hot days above 95 degrees. Las Vegas coming out on top for the city that has seen the most days above 95 degrees. That's according to a data analysis by the International Institute for Environment and Development.
Hey, Tania, but check this out. If you need to cool off, an airport in the Pacific Northwest has nearly transformed itself into a vacation destination. The Portland International Airport reopening its main terminal today, but as an indoor version of Oregon's great outdoors. It has dozens of trees, plants, and skylights on a Douglas fir ceiling cut from regional forests through sustainable harvesting methods. Ooh, we love that. Snaps for them. And on occasion, oh my goodness. Okay, get this, Tania. Therapy llamas and alpacas will be on hand for travelers at PDX. The second renovation phase is set to be complete by early 2026. So what you're telling me is we need to have a girls trip to Oregon.
And
well,
I would
still ahead, Tania. What's up next?
Lauren, we're on your side with how much rain we're going to see over the weekend and take you beyond the 7-day to if we could possibly see more chances for wet weather in the coming days. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, time to check out our forecast here and give you that weather extra rundown of what's on the way. And at the moment, we had a couple of showers earlier today, and those have now dissipated. We've got a high pressure ridge over Alabama, and we're just kind of right there on the edge of where we're seeing the more stable, hot, steamy conditions. There's been a lot of heat advisories back to the west of us, and that ridge kind of weakening some and allowing some showers and storms to develop. A lot of that's actually passed to the south of us and really flaring up down into South Mississippi today. You can see some intense lightning in here. I was noticing this little complex of storms that was pushing down towards Gulfport, Mississippi, showing over almost 500 lightning strikes right in here over the past 30 minutes. So some intense storms there down into South Mississippi, and it looks like that's most of that's going to stay there just off to the west for folks that are at Gulf Shores, if you have friends or family visiting there. As far as tonight goes, around here locally, we're going to stay dry, but another warm night, certainly feeling a little bit more humid out there, but typical summer night for us. Those 70s around again tomorrow morning. And I mentioned the next big thing, some storms coming back for us. It looks like on Friday as that ridge sort of weakens again, allows some of those storms to drop in from the northwest. It's still going to be blistering hot out there Friday, also on Saturday, but those scattered storms will be popping up, and when they do, some of those may be severe, so we'll need to watch out for that. That's not related to Hurricane Ernesto. That system is going to stay well east of us, stay out over the Atlantic. That's the only system in the tropics at this time, and hopefully it's the last, but we know that we're getting closer to the peak of hurricane season. But tonight, staying dry, you can see just a few clouds, wind out of the northeast. We stay in that northerly flow. Model data still keeping us mostly dry for Thursday here. Another start in the 70s, feeling more humid over the next couple days. Tomorrow afternoon, highs in the 90s. The heat index will top 100. You can see some 80s on the map here for East Alabama Center, Gadsden, Anniston showing middle 80s. Still could see those heat index levels pushing close to 100 there during the afternoon. But we're not seeing the extremes on the heat, so that's a good thing. But still could see a couple of isolated showers pop up, but just not a lot of rainfall. Now, Friday's the day where the models are telling us we could see more of those scattered storms in the afternoon. You see right there, that's 4 o'clock on Friday, so that possibility is there. In fact, today the Storm Prediction Center placed parts of North Alabama under a marginal level 1 out of 5 risk for possible strong to severe storms. But with any storm, Friday, Saturday, even on Sunday, if we have some of those pop-up storms, that risk is going to be there for some strong wind gusts, possibly some large hail. Of course, with any thunderstorm, lightning is a concern. So plan for that possibility. Not a total washout, but there could be, I just plan for a storm delay. That's going to, if anything pops up, it should move through fairly quickly. Highs in the 90s, and just stay alert on the First Alert Weather app for that possibility of lightning alerts as we go through the weekend and into the start of next week. But hey, let's talk about some of this incredible space phenomena that we've been spotting throughout the week. These are some stunning images from the International Space Station of the Northern Lights. This coming from NASA today, and the view from space quite incredible. It shows the moon setting into the aurora, followed by sunrise lighting up the spacecraft. This comes after solar storms have been more frequent this week. Of course, earlier this week we could even see some of those auroras here across the state of Alabama. We've had heightened solar activity, and it's really cool there when you see those views from the space station. And even we see it in satellite images, that barrier between night and day from space, and we know what that's called. We call it the Terminator line. when we're not the movie, but
Right.
but on the satellite images, and just some incredible views there from the International Space Station, Tania.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Wes. But now, listen, it's time to take you guys
Yeah,
beyond
take us beyond the 7 day.
Beyond the 7 day, looking at our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook across the U.S. A good mix of people. Some states seeing above average precipitation, others seeing near. But as we zoom in for us here across central Alabama, we also have a good mix. Half of our counties could be seeing more below average precipitation as we bring in closer to the end of this month, 20th through the 24th of August. But our southern states more near average. So what does that necessarily mean? It just means that on average of the amount of precipitation precipitation that we would get on average this time of the year, well, we're going to be seeing likely a little bit less than that, or right where we usually would. As far as our temperatures, though, notice nothing much has changed across central Alabama. As we approach later into this month, the 20th through the 24th, we're actually going to be seeing more above average temperatures, so get ready for more hot days. We love to call it Trick Me Fall, but listen, fall is not here just yet. Get ready because the humidity is sticking around for us and coming quickly as we head into the end of really this week. But don't go anywhere. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. We'll actually have a final check of your weather and a look at some of those lovely, beautiful viewer photos. We'll be right back. And some viewer photos. This beautiful picture out in Gadsden from Jarvis Rawls. Such a gorgeous view there. Oh my goodness.
He's got that nice drone. He takes that thing, sends us
We
photos
sure
all the
that's
time.
Alabama?
Is it? That's hey, beautiful Coosa River there. Yes.
Great. Apparently that's not Alabama actually. Y'all. That one right there is
No,
Tennessee. So we'll
Yeah,
give
that's not
Tennessee
Alabama.
some props there. Ooh, now how about this, y'all?
Teresa Swanger, Orange Beach.
Oh, so we can claim that one. That's
we'll
ours.
Yeah, we'll claim that one too.
We got that one little strip of coastline down there. And then Garland Brock, this beautiful sunrise on Logan Martin Lake. Hey, the lake not too shabby either. Kind of get some Lion King vibes from that sunrise there.
Bring it back to Pelham. I believe that's a hawk there, and Diana Rose sharing that. And actually, she shared
That's cool.
many photos there. I believe that's a frequent visitor. I see
Oh,
those
yeah?
photos a lot. But hey, don't forget you can share your photos on the weather app. We love to share those right here on Weather Extra. But we'll be sharing more on the forecast coming up tonight. Looks like Friday. Need to watch it. Couple storms.
Yep,
Yeah.
Saturday too, maybe.
We got way too lucky last weekend. It was so
Yeah,
nice,
so
and quiet,
nice.
and boring,
I know.
and not humid. And this weekend's like back to normal.
Yeah. Trick me fall, right?
It is very much so.
We'll see you tonight, first at 9.